I'm Ro.
And I'm Salem.
Let's dive into the Scaryverse. Hello, spooky besties.
Hello.
This week is a little bit different from our normal weeks. We have an interview guest this week, and we are so excited for you guys to hear all about our guest. We got to sit down with Teri from Tulsa Spirit Tours, and it was so much fun.
Yes, I and Ro really enjoyed talking with Teri. She is so cool and fun and laid back, and I am very excited to do more with her in the future.
I really want to take all of the classes that she told us about. I really want to go on all of the tours that she told us about. It sounds like such a good, fun time
to figure out how to afford all of this. Now, with that being said, her stuff is very reasonably priced. Like her Metaphysics 101 is like, what is it? $75, and that's for 3 classes. So it comes out to like $25 per class. They're Monday evenings. She has different spring and fall classes and everything like that. And she has a bunch of classes too. Like there's Ghost Hunting 101, Metaphysics 101, Dream Interpretation, like a bunch of cool stuff, like everything that Ro and I love.
The thing that I was really excited about when we were looking into her classes was that they all have like the materials included and stuff. So you don't have to try to figure it out on your own and go get materials on your own. They're just there, which is awesome because, you know, I'm an online college student right now, and half of my struggle is trying to figure out what materials I need to get, especially when it's online.
Yeah, it's listed on her website. It says materials and snacks or something like that.
Yeah, it was like materials and snacks provided. One of her tours includes dinner, and it's only like $40. It's a really good deal.
And for that to include dinner, that is so cool. Like, that's very doable. Like
super cool date night idea.
Yeah, I was like, that right there, I'm sold. Like spooky and food.
Yeah, I feel like it would be good. It would be a fun party situation. It would be a fun date night. I know you and I are going to try and do a double date night and go, but it sounds so fun. And there's so many different tours that she does, and she does them throughout the year. I've noticed a lot with spooky places. They only do them like during spooky season.
Yeah. And she does have a good amount of stuff to do during spooky season, but she does them all throughout the year. Like I was saying, spring, fall, summer.
I feel like I always feel really sad when spooky season is over because I feel like I always am like, I wanted to do more. And I feel like I never really got to do everything that I wanted to do during spooky season, especially because I'm not good with money. I'm not good at saving money, and I never have.
And that is something that I'm working on, like trying to work on so much this year, and then also like leading up to spooky season, because I want to be able to enjoy all of the fun spooky things, and I want to be able to, you know, treat people with stuff as well. So
I really
it's a work in progress.
I really just I don't know. It just makes me excited that it's more flexible. It's like I don't feel rushed. I don't feel like I need to do it right now or I'm gonna miss it. I feel like I will get the chance to experience several experiences with them throughout the next several upcoming years, which is also really appreciated for somebody like me who's super busy.
I was going to say, she's been doing this for over 20 years. So as much as we want to like pack it all in and do it all right now, we can divvy it up and do, you know, stuff throughout the next handful of years, because she's not stopping anytime soon.
No, I don't think so. And I'm just like, I don't know. It's just awesome. We should just get to the interview portion of this so you guys can hear it. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ro, and I'm the one who's been emailing you.
Okay.
And this is Salem. And we started this podcast like less than a year ago. And we really, our hope was to be able to explain scary stuff to people, because we've always kind of been into like horror movies and Halloween and that kind of thing. But it also like fascinates us, like the psychology behind why people get scared and what scares people. And we think a lot of it is fascinating, like the paranormal and supernatural and all kinds of stuff. But we're also based in Tulsa. So when we came across your Facebook page, we were so excited, and we immediately were like, we want to talk to her.
Yay. I'm glad.
And I think we had even come across the Tulsa Spirit Tours before we had started the podcast, and was like, oh, that's something we're interested in. So we've been interested for a while.
But we were hoping we could just start off if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Tulsa Spirit Tours.
Well, I'm Teri French. I actually started the haunted history tours because of a personal experience that I had at a place that I worked. It was haunted by a woman who was murdered there 10 years before. It's a pretty chilling story. It still kind of rattles me sometimes. And working there, I had, I've always believed in this stuff. I grew up watching Alfred Hitchcock, a little bit older, and, stuff like that. And that was really, I loved that stuff when I was a kid. So growing up, I was always had a fascination with it as well. And so when I started working at this place that was literally haunted, weird stuff started to happen. I mean, very bizarre things. Shoot, I even have them here. I could even show them to you, but I have a set of lovebirds somewhere on the shelf over here that a resident got me. And it was a gift. And they gave them to me from a mission trip they had been on. I went into work the next day and I noticed they were missing. It's just this cute little set of lovebirds. And I started asking the staff, has anybody seen the lovebirds that, this person gave me? And they looked and looked and looked and no one could find them. And then later on, my maintenance guy goes to lunch, opens up the microwave, and there they were in the microwave. He comes to me giggling, going, Teri, I don't know how they ended up in the microwave, but they were in the microwave. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. So really strange stuff like that was happening. Toilet lids would slam on their own. You would hear just a little bit of a faint voice. You'd always feel like you were being watched or you weren't alone. So it prompted me to, once I had a real experience, and I actually caught it on camera. We used Polaroid pictures, Polaroid cameras back then. Might as well just tell you, it was in an apartment complex. And so we would use the Polaroid cameras to take pictures of damages in apartments. That was before, I'm showing my age, before there was a lot of digital. Digital was coming out and it was very expensive. So back then, it's reversed now. Digital is cheap and Polaroids are expensive. But back then it was the opposite. And we used Polaroids to take pictures of damages. And I'd given the Polaroid to one of my leasing agents to take pictures of a unit. And the pictures came out all janky. They were flying out of the camera one after the other. I literally just put a new cartridge in. And the second I shut it, those pictures came flying out. They had this blood red color on them. It was the most bizarre thing. It really was. And we picked them up, threw them away. I put a new cartridge in. And as soon as I did, we all kind of sat around and waited because we were waiting for those to go flying up in the air too. And they didn't. And so, she went off and did what she had to do. And I kind of ignored it. I had taken one picture though, and I had set it back on my credenza. It had later developed and it appeared to be an apparition of a woman. And she had her arms crossed like this. She had hair a little bit longer than mine, about down to here, and a striped shirt. And she just kind of looked like she was standing there with her arms crossed, like she was watching us. And so I started showing it to people going, what do you think? What do you think? And everybody was like, oh my God, yeah. And so I started telling the story of the weird stuff that's happening, like the birds coming up in the microwave and the toilet lid slamming. And trust me, I've got tons from that place. And everybody's like, I think you got a ghost. I think you got a ghost. So that, of course, I was like, oh my gosh, everybody was calling me at that point going, tell me the story. I want to see the picture. Tell me the story. Because word was getting out about it. And next thing I knew, I started the very first paranormal research team in Oklahoma. It wasn't my intent by any means, but the fascination was there. I just absolutely loved it. I found myself investigating the site, looking for other people to do the same. And there wasn't any. There was no paranormal research team. So we're talking late 90s, early 2000s. Before it was on TV, before there was a lot of interest. And at that point, I was able to gather up some friends and we started a paranormal research team. We started, I think, the first or second in Oklahoma. So it was really fun.
Yeah, that
But
is really cool.
it started from working at a place that was haunted for sure.
That's awesome. I think a lot of the things that you mentioned are kind of funny to me because you always watch horror movies about hauntings, and it's always like a husband and wife, and it's always like the wife saying, "This place is haunted," and the husband
Yeah.
being like, "You're crazy. It's just glitches with the
Yeah.
equipment and stuff." And I think like when it happens in real life, it's kind of easy to explain it away as glitches and stuff. I grew up in Massachusetts.
Oh,
And
wow.
so there's a lot of history there.
Mm-hmm.
And most places are haunted, if not everywhere,
Oh,
pretty much.
yeah. Not
Yeah.
And
like
if
here for sure.
and even if you have like a new house, it's probably built on some sort of Native American burial ground or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
A battlefield from the Revolutionary War. There's something there that has been in the history. And I had a lot of crazy experiences, and
Yeah,
that
I actually worked for this 92, 93-year-old woman, and I was her caretaker. So, well, she had to have 24 caretaking, and I was the one that stayed overnight with her. And I stayed in the room right across from her hallway. We had like baby monitors and everything. And her niece was the one that paid us and everything. And she had told me one night, and I wish she did not tell me this, but she told me that in the room and in the bed that I stayed in was the bed that her uncle, the lady that I took care of, her husband had passed away in. So I had already felt like this really weird presence in that room. And then there would be nights when she would call me in there and she would say, "Somebody just came in here all dressed in white." And I would be like, "You and I are the only two people in here." But there would be so many nights that she would wake me up to go in there because somebody just came in and was like standing over her. And so I got to the point where I would keep all of the lights on. I would not sleep in that room
Wow.
anymore. It was very strange, and I never felt like unsafe or like I was threatened by any means. I think if anything, there was somebody or, multiple people there watching over the lady that I was taking care of. She was very elderly. She was in her 90s. So
Mm-hmm.
if anything, they were probably trying to comfort her in her last little,
Her
yeah,
transition for sure.
right.
That's so crazy. I think something that we've always been interested in because we've both had several paranormal experiences
Mm-hmm.
is paranormal investigating and
Yeah.
like learning how to do paranormal investigations. And we've always wanted to like join a team and just at least try an investigation of some sort. But for me, growing up in Massachusetts, Taps is from Rhode Island, and they started ghost hunters on television, and I feel like the ghost hunting field in general has kind of gotten a bad rap from some of those television shows. Do you feel like that's the
I
case?
agree 100%. And that's one of the reasons why my team and I have kind of stepped back. It was becoming so commercialized and things. And we were really in it for the research. We really wanted to try to see what we could find out. It was a pretty serious thing. And back when I started, we had message boards. We didn't have Facebook and all of that. So there was a message board that so many of us would meet. And we all had our little names on the message boards and stuff. And I still know people by their by their
I
tag name. And
I miss message boards
I
so much.
know, and we would
Yeah.
exchange the most amazing information. You'd have people on there that were so smart that they were talking quantum physics and mechanics that were going way over my head, and it just all so much collaboration and talk of it. It was all scientific nature, and it was so cool because it really helped you learn about the paranormal for sure. And then the TV shows came along. I had one. I don't know if you guys knew that. But
No.
yeah, production company came through Tulsa once and they wanted to do two shows called one was Haunted and Mysterious Route 66 and the other one was Haunted Theater. So of course they wanted to film at the Tulsa Theater, formerly Brady Theater, and the Cain's Ballroom. And we did that with them. We got them in there and they filmed, and some of the people that were on my team actually did it, reenactments and things, and it was so fun. Had a blast. And when we were in the middle of filming with them, it was just for fun and we didn't get paid anything. Whatever, the producer from California was like, "Hey, would you care if I pitched your team to a television show?" And I was like, "What?" And this is the same time Taps came out and everything. And it was Taps wasn't out yet either. And he goes, well, he says, I've been all over the country. I've never seen a team that's primarily women. And my team was. I think I had one guy at that time. And he goes, everywhere I go, all over the country, it's all men. And he goes, can I pitch your team of women for a show? And I'm like, sure, why not? And so he did in women's entertainment bit and picked it up. They came back into Broken Arrow in Tulsa, and they drove us around in black SUVs with tinted windows, and bought us Starbucks, and like catered all of our lunches and stuff. And we took them to the Brady Theater, Kane's Ballroom, Little Theater, took them all over the place, Garden Center. And we did that for over a month and a half. And then they followed us into our houses. It was called Ghost Moms. And it was about us being moms and females and having this career during the day and then having this weird hobby at night. It was considered a weird hobby back in the late 90s, early 2000s. It wasn't something everybody was doing. So, it was really fun. Had a blast. Spent, like I said, a month and a half with them filming. And they did the pilot. It was called Ghost Moms. It was so fun, but it didn't go any farther than that. They actually really concentrated on my best friend's daughter, who was pregnant and 16 at the time. That's where all the drama was. I don't think we had enough drama for him, but yeah, that's all the farther it went. But it was a fun time. It was pretty interesting.
That sounds really fun.
And they wanted us. They asked us a couple of times, will you run out screaming? Will you do this? I was like, no, we will not. And I think that's one of the things that kind of made them not want to come back, even though we took them to the Gilcrease house, which scared the living daylights out of a couple of the producer guys that were there.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really fun. So yeah, when we were at the Gilcrease house, you want to hear that story? It was pretty wild.
Yes.
The producer guy is sitting there and he's got this big camera on his, and we're just walking in the door at that time, and he's got this big camera up there, and he's, this place really haunted? Because it's an old house, it doesn't look like it's anything ominous or what have you. Because he's looking around. I'm like, yeah. So it's really haunted. He goes, I don't know about this place. And he takes the camera down, he sits it on the floor and looks around. And there was, right next to that camera was a load, because they were doing remodeling at the time. So there was a load of wood or lumber, like leaned up against the wall this way. And he set that camera down, looked around, that lumber went boom this way. How it gets moved opposite of the wall it was leaning on is beyond any of us. That scared the crap. He picked his camera up and he ran out the door. I think all night I saw him right behind me. I was like, are you okay? He's like, I don't know about this place. I don't know about this place. But literally, it made the loudest sound, and it just fell in the opposite direction. It just made no sense to anybody. So it was a pretty fun time.
That sounds so crazy. I feel like I'd be scared of something like that, which is funny because one of the things that really does irritate me about like the ghost hunting television shows is that they're out there actively like hunting for ghosts, and every time they think they find something, they always run out of the building screaming, like you were saying. And
right.
It doesn't feel
they've got to dramatize it for entertainment purposes and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was really cool because she specifically chose a place to get married that has there's like
it's supposedly haunted, and I asked them about it when we went to tour it, and they were like, no, it's not haunted, we promise it's not haunted. And I was like, no, but like I'll pay you extra if you can make the haunting occur during my wedding.
I'm okay with it being haunted.
Where was
but I got
that?
married at the Belvedere Mansion in Claremore.
Really?
Yeah.
We investigated that back in like that was early 2000s, like 2002 or 3. It was very haunted back then.
Wow. Nothing that
so it's like they don't want that to be the draw to bring people there. But I was talking to somebody on the phone at one of my previous jobs, a client who lived over in the East Coast, and even she had heard of the Belvedere Mansion.
Wow.
Because she's really into paranormal activity and stuff like that, and so she had heard of it. So it's funny to me that they're like trying so hard to not like classify it as like a haunted place or something.
I think well, they let people come and investigate it still, because they've let YouTubers come in and investigate and stuff.
They let us come in with Channel 8 one time, and they're letting people in there now. So it could be a change of board of directors. I've had to experience that firsthand. In fact, last year I did a really cool tour called Sweet and Sinister, and I took people to Pawhuska. And the sweet part
Oh,
was that we got, I don't know if you saw my promo stuff for that tour, but it's a cupcake and it had blood all over it and glass in it and stuff like it looked all, disgusting.
I love
Well, the
that.
Pioneer woman actually, they made me one identical to that for this tour. And I took them. That was the sweet part of the tour. The sinister part was we would spend the night at the Constantine Theater. Okay. And we go look at some of their urban legends. So yeah, they got a wonderful meal. We got these amazing cupcakes. It looked all bloody and glass, but it was actually not glass. It was candy. It was so cool. And then we take them to these urban legends. And then we spent the night at the Constantine. And I wanted to run that tour. We had so much fun and it sold out so quick. I wanted to do it again this year. And the Constantine Theater shut me down. Like, nope. They got a new board of directors. They are no longer haunted at all.
Oh gosh.
That's crazy because that's amazing. I would have really
Yes.
enjoyed that.
And it was local, so it didn't cost as much. Do you know what I mean? It didn't
Right.
cost me as much, so the prices weren't as high. Like my prison tour is pretty high because we're going 5 hours out of town, and so it's a long ways. So, yeah, I was bummed. But yeah, that could be the same reason with the Belvedere. Like I'm just saying, when they change hands and they change board of directors, it depends. Same thing happened to me at the Garden Center. I was doing tours in and out of there for the longest time, and we were having experiences there, and it was pretty cool. And then next thing I know, I got a call from the events coordinator, and she said they have a new board of directors and they don't want to do this anymore. And I'm like, that's fine. I appreciate y'all letting me in for the time we could come in. And then they ended up firing her at COVID time, and she didn't ever get her job back. But then I went back over there not too long ago, post COVID, of course. And they were like, "You do what? You do what? Oh my gosh, we would love to have that here." And I'm thinking, so you literally got to continuously, as long as I've been doing it anyway, because I've been in it over 20 years now, continuously reinvent yourself to new people at all times. And with all the ghost shows, like you said, it is getting kind of a bad rap. It really is. They're made to look a little silly. People don't want someone going into their business to say there's demons there. Making strong statements like that to make it sound like something evil and sinister and horrible. So, that's just it's getting a worse connotation, I think, because the TV shows are aiming more towards evil stuff and not.
Yeah.
I'm not saying every haunting's Casper, but at the same time, not every haunting's a demon either. And so, casting that dark light on it for ratings, I'm pretty sure. I've been doing it over 20 years. I've run into dark entities, but nothing that I would consider evil. I mean, maybe I'm expecting it to have a lot more power than it really does, but at the same time, it's just, I don't know. I have a hard time with that. And I think that's the reason. And that is the reason that my team stepped back and we don't do a whole lot of public, investigations and things like that anymore.
Right.
I can't.
That makes sense. It's unfortunate because, I mean, the television shows are obviously for entertainment, but at the same time, I think it would be more interesting if they would focus more on the science and like trying to explain things that happen
for sure
in other ways before saying, "Oh, it's a demon."
Yeah.
So
sure.
yeah, with that being said, do you have any advice for people who would like to start ghost hunting who have never done it before?
Well, so I have people have asked me, and I've been doing this, gosh, now I think 15 years. I've been doing the Ghost Hunting 101 crash course. So what this is, we spend 5 weeks in a haunted location, and I go over everything from EVPs to photography, equipment, all of that. In the very last class, we actually investigate it. We get to the whole place to ourselves, and you get to investigate with the tools you learn in the class. So I've had very advanced people come on this Ghost Hunting 101, and I've had people that have never done it before, and all of them love it because it is eye-opening after 20 years, of things that are so simple that you don't think about. For example, when I was researching the Hex House, I was in the library for day after day after day after day, pulling, microfiche after microfiche after microfiche, trying to do research on a property. All I had to do was ask the librarian. She had a whole stack. Yeah. And I spent weeks there, and so it's little stuff like that, even that's very valuable, I think. And people are like, gosh, I wouldn't have thought to do that either. I'd be going through the microfiche trying to find what I was looking for. And you'd be surprised at what they can help you with. But it's little stuff like that. I teach people how to research the history of a location so you can tie it back to any tragedies or anything that could possibly be causing that haunting. And then try to give it some type of scientific explanation. So that's my advice, is to find a group like like what I do, my ghost hunting 101. Join that. You meet like-minded people, or join those meetup groups. I don't know if very many people still have those. Do you know, the paranormal meetups? Have you heard of those?
I have kind of heard of them, and I think they're kind of hit or miss. I think a lot of
Really?
people, like your group, kind of disbanded, but they still have them kind of active when kind of a lot of the television shows that aren't so great came up.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's unfortunate.
Yeah,
It
that's something
is.
to look into a little bit, though, because I feel like there's Facebook groups for everything these days as well.
Yeah,
Right.
I feel like that's
That's generally
probably
what
the
I tell
case.
people to do, is look for, a meetup group or a Facebook paranormal group. I said, there, if they have meetings, if they all meet for lunch or meet for dinner or drinks or something, you meet like-minded people, see who you jive with, and then
Mm-hmm.
go to that
Yeah.
person and go, hey, you want to go check out a cemetery with me? Or you want to go do this? You don't have to invite everybody that's there. You want to find out who your energy jives with, and it is good because it is all energy, as we know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really good advice. And also your ghost hunting class sounds really fun. So
Yeah.
now now I really want to do it.
Yes, me too.
It's fun because I play, over 20 years. I've got a few EVPs, so I play those. I play EVPs from the place we're actually investigating. I show you pictures from the place we're actually going to investigate, because I've been doing my classes there for so long. Where now we have evidence now. So it's really fun. So I can show you what we did in the last class. I'm so sorry.
Oh no,
To
it's
help
fine.
your recording. I can show, look what the last class got. Let's try to recreate this. And when we can't recreate it, it's a face of a man literally sitting at a table. It's like his head's on the table. It's very strange. We got that one time. That's 2
Weird.
classes
Wow.
ago. And when there's everything has a control picture. So there's always more than one picture that we take. And so you see the control picture with nothing there. And then the second picture with this guy's head literally on the table. And there's
Wow.
nothing there. There's no mannequin. There's no nothing. And like 3 and 4 and 5 pictures show nothing. Only one picture has his face in it. So we've been trying to recreate that. So next class, I'm going to try to recreate it again. We can't. So that
That's
makes
so
it that much more
crazy.
compelling for me. And that makes me excited about it. So I keep doing classes there for that reason. It's just so fun. Never
Yeah.
know what we'll
Yeah,
get.
I think that I always find EVPs and photographic evidence really compelling. But I know there's like a lot of apps for paranormal investigating now. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
always like, this has to be a scam. This can't actually work.
I don't like those. I very much at all. Especially the ones that have words that are already programmed into it. I've tried those, and the words that come up are murder and kill you and death. And, it's like, okay, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if you're at like a little bakery that's haunted, that's not the things you expect to hear. So I'm not real impressed with those at all. And
Yeah.
any of those. Now, I was never very impressed with ghost boxes either.
That was another thing that I was wondering about, because I do see a lot of teams using ghost boxes and they just seem so like, it just seems like it's very suggestive and it's like you could hear what you want to hear kind of thing.
True. Yeah. And it's hard to get some real genuine things out of it. So, but we, one time when we went to the prison, they were like, here, use this ghost box. And we're like, no, that's just radio waves. They can say whatever. And he goes, the guy that was running the thing, he was like, just, humor me for a minute. Just take it. Humor me. And I'm like, okay, fine. Well, my friend Carol took it. His name was Mike, mind you. And so we start walking away with it. And that stupid thing started going, Mike, 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 Mike. So we're like looking at each other going, okay, this is weird. This is different. So we took it down to death row and we went into this particular cell and we had it on and it called us the C word, CUNTS, and the B word, which are words that are not allowed or you can't get past, on radio. You just can't.
Yeah.
And so that kind of made us a little bit more like, okay, there might be something to this, because that was the only few things that ever happened to me with it that I was very impressed with. So I've recently bought one, a nice one that actually goes in reverse. So, but the
Oh,
station's in reverse, so you aren't, you know what I mean? So you're not as likely
yeah,
to catch very easy words, I guess, or easy phrases because it's going
yeah.
backwards and it does it at different intervals. You can make it go fast, you can make it go slow. So it's really cool. I really like that one. And what's crazy is I recently went to, and this is what made me buy one. I recently went to a lockdown at the Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs. There was maybe 30 people there. I can't believe they didn't have more. I was shocked. We were there and we were down in the bottom, the morgue area and stuff. And the minute I walked down there, REM pod started going off. And they said it had been quiet until I walked in there. So I walked away and it went quiet again. I'd walk up, it started going crazy. I'd walk away and, so this was going on for about 30 minutes. It was crazy. And every
Wow.
time I walked by or around it or anything, or anybody said anything about me, like, do you like her or something, it would go crazy, it would go off. I would leave for 10 minutes, come back. They said it was quiet the whole time. I come in, so one guy tried to
Yeah.
say it was my cell phone. We left it upstairs and it still did it. So the last time I quit after, I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. But the ghost box said Teresa, which is my legal name. And my
Wow,
boyfriend
that's so
looked at,
crazy.
well, not even crazy. That what even happened after that was even crazier. My boyfriend looked at me and he goes, "Oh my God, that's her name. That's her legal name." And then it said Teri, which is the name I go by. So it said Teresa and Teri. And I looked at him, I said, let's go. I was like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. So he and I went upstairs after that. I didn't want to play with it anymore. I was worried because I was like, who knows my name,
That's
So
that's so crazy. I just got chills when you said that.
yes.
But
That made me go out and buy one. So I'm like, they probably had to go in the right way, not backwards. I don't know what direction or whatever they had their ghost box in, but I had
yeah,
to buy one, and I haven't had as good of luck. I've tried asking my name on it. I've tried asking other people's name, and I haven't had as good of luck yet. So that was a trip. That was really crazy.
that's so funny because I feel like I was saying that I wasn't sure how well they work because when I see them, okay, it's on the paranormal shows because my husband's a huge fan of them.
Mm-hmm.
And they always do the thing where they've got the person isolated and they're blindfolded and they've got on the headphones and they're
Mm-hmm.
listening to the ghost box and the other person is like asking questions and then that person is supposed to be answering by what they hear from the ghost box.
Yeah.
And that just felt so theatrical to me that I wasn't really sure whether or not that was like a realistic thing. But I wanted to ask you about it because right now I'm in college right now and I'm taking online classes. And one of the classes that I'm taking is actually an astronomy class.
So fun.
And I never thought that this would tie into ghosts at all. But we're learning about the different light waves and waveforms and how the astronomers use them to look at planets that existed years and years and years ago, like billions of years ago, because they're light years away. And they
Mm-hmm.
use radio waves to do it. So I feel like there has to be something there to the technology behind the ghost
Oh
boxes.
yeah. I think so too. And what you're talking about is called the Estes method. And I'm not sure why they call it that. I don't know, some kid, but last time Estes came up with it, I think it's a brilliant idea. But yeah, what they do is they don't, and my boyfriend and I tried it when we were at the Crescent lockdown and we didn't get anything. But he put on the headphones and he didn't have the blindfold and everything, but he just had them on and he had them covered and he kept his eyes closed. And I would ask questions out loud and he couldn't hear me, but he never did say anything. And I finally took the headphones off. I said, you're supposed to say what you hear. And he goes, I haven't heard anything. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, 'cause I'm thinking maybe he's just sitting there listening and not, he's cute, but he can be slow sometimes. And so, we tried it again after I bought the equipment. So we tried it again and we did it at a place in downtown Broken Arrow, the old hospital, the military museum, and it worked. I was wearing
Wow.
headphones this time and I didn't, so I don't know the full conversation, but yeah, supposedly the guy that was there that let us in that we were doing the investigation for, he asked about a friend of his and asked if he was there. And I said, yep. And then something else. And he asked about something that happened and I confirmed it. I don't even remember what was said, to be honest with you, but it was during one of our EDP, Estes method sessions that we did that and it worked. So,
That's
it's
really
pretty
cool to
interesting.
know.
And I'm going to try it again. I'm going to try it for sure. And that seems kind of hit or miss. Sometimes it seems to work
Yeah.
really good and sometimes it doesn't. So
Yeah, it's just like one of those things where I'm always curious how much is real and how much is fake. Like,
Yeah,
which
it's
it
hard.
sounds terrible, but I'm very cynical and I'm always like questioning things. I totally believe in ghosts and hauntings and everything, but I'm always questioning whether or not it could be something else, if it could be explained away some other way.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of things that just can't be. So I
For
find it
sure.
really interesting. Now I'm going to go take a ghost hunting class and do all the tours.
So fun. I mean, and like you were talking about, just it has gone a long way, and it's people. You got to be careful who you deal with anymore, because people are actually using this as a way to rip you off too.
Wow.
There are people that'll say, they'll come in and they'll do an investigation. They'll charge you $200 to get rid of your ghost and things like that. And that's just not possible. You can't prove it
Oh,
exists. You can't prove you're getting rid of it. So you do got to be
right.
careful. There are a lot of shysters out there. And so it is hard to understand what to take serious and what not to, and what's, good and what's not. And those are kind of the things that I hope to dispel with my Ghost Hunting 101, is to help people understand, what's worth your time and what isn't. So
Yeah, well, I think also like with the prevalence of it in pop culture between the paranormal investigation shows and then like the Conjuring movies and all of the movies about Ed and Lorraine Warren and then
oh
all of
yeah.
like
I was going to say that
Ghostbusters.
they depict that in movies a lot. People, taking advantage of people who are like desperate to get rid of some spirit or whatever in their home, and they charge like $200 to $500 to remove it, and then that's when the husband comes back in and is like, it's not even real, type of thing.
I love talking about ghosts and hauntings and all of that stuff. It's so fascinating to me, especially because I did grow up in Massachusetts. I went to Salem all the time as a kid,
So jealous.
and
That's awesome.
they have ghost tours there, and they're always like, they're one of the ones that it's like, that the town is haunted. That there has to be some sort of potential for you to catch something on the ghost tours, but at the same time it's like they are almost trying to guarantee that you're going to catch something on some of the ghost tours.
No.
I've never had anything actually happen there, which is crazy because I have had other experiences. My grandmother made me some porcelain dolls that I was really freaked out by as a kid, and they were in my bedroom, and I tried to take them down to our basement and tried to put them in storage because I didn't want them in my room anymore because they freaked me out.
Yeah.
And I came home from school and they were back in my room, and my parents swore up and down that they didn't touch them. So I have no idea how that happened.
Grandma put those back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me of the story that I had when I was younger and thought that the very, Chucky like doll that I kept throwing away kept ending up back in our toy box.
Oh yeah.
And it turns out my mom was finding the doll and putting it back in my toys, because I was like, how is this doll ending up back in my toys? I keep throwing it away. So I finally take it out to the we lived right off of this, like right next to this alley, and it had like dumpsters, and I just took the doll and put it in the dumpster. And then as I was walking back home, I thought it was chasing me, and it was just my shadow. So
We spook ourselves. People have
yes.
asked me that before too, in conferences and stuff. If I think they can hurt you, I was like, I think they can make you hurt yourself and stuff like that. You think that's happening, you run faster, trip, fall, cut your head open. I think that stuff like that can definitely make you hurt yourself more than they can hurt you.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about, is like that you're making it worse than it actually is by trying to get away from it almost.
True.
And I know that you wrote a lot of books about hauntings as well, in addition to doing the investigations and the tours and everything. And I know that a couple of your books are about the things in Tulsa as well as things in Oklahoma. Do you have a favorite place that people should really, really try to go to?
In all of the state, some of my most some of the places I really love that probably aren't even in the books. Well, I mean, as far as hauntings go, Gilcrease House here in Tulsa but they're doing construction. You can't even get near it right now, but definitely I think the most haunted house in Tulsa.
Yeah, I definitely want to visit.
I want to go there too. I've only lived in Tulsa for 2 years. I lived here in my early 20s. I moved away for 15 years and came back. And the entire time I've been back, it's been closed. And I'm like, I really want to
Yes,
go.
they said it'd be closed for a couple of years. I used to take tours there as well. And we would just talk out front of the house, and I'd let them look inside, and then we'd go down because he's buried there with his parents, and so I would go down in front of the tomb. And I mean, I've had people touch there. I've had the tomb. There's a group of girls that came on the tour twice, and it happened both times, which is weird in and of itself. It's weird that it even happened once, but only happened twice to the same group of girls, but they were getting a picture taken in front of the tomb, and you heard a big boom, like somebody hit the gates on the tomb, and it sent them up in the air screaming and yelling and running home. But we've had people touch, we've had people get, weird pictures and windows. It's one of the more very haunted places. And one of the times I was doing a tour there as well, I took a breath while I was in the middle of telling some history, and you started hearing meow, meow, meow. And we're all looking around, not a cat in sight, but by God, you could hear it. And it sounded like it was literally right in front of us. And that's something that's happened to us before when we were there privately for an investigation, hearing a cat meow. So it's just
Wow.
the weirdest things happen there. And I can't wait to take a tour back there for sure.
It's almost something that you overlook when you think about hauntings is like animals haunting
Animals.
places as well as people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you ever come on one of my tours, one of the pictures I show on the Broken Arrow tour, towards the end of that one, I show some animal ghost pictures that I got. I got a picture of their dog Dolly from the Whaley house in San Diego, California. And I got a picture of a dog next to my son when he was 3 years old. That he talked about a dog all the time. We didn't own any pets. Then we didn't have one pet at that time, but he had a ghost dog, so he was happy. But I talk about those because that is something you don't see a lot of. And I'm very proud that I don't have just one, but I actually have 2 ghost dog pictures that I show on that tour. So it's really fun.
That's
Yeah,
so cool.
that is very cool.
Mhm.
And, just speaking of animals, and because that's not something that I think about, like, animals being like, a part of something that I guess you just think of people mostly.
Right.
But what freaks me out is that animals can see things that we can't necessarily see, because
Right.
my dog will be, staring at something and growling at something, and it'll be like in our bedroom, and because I can typically hear something and know if she's growling at like a noise outside or whatever. But if she's like looking in our closet and growling, then I'm like, what is in our
Yeah.
closet?
For sure. Animals and children are the most receptive for
Mm-hmm.
sure. And my dog, my pug that you heard barking earlier, the night before my mom died, she jumped out of the covers, stood on the top of the bed at the edge of the bed, and sat there and looked at the corner for 2 minutes and 22 seconds. Just stared at the corner.
Wow.
And then she went back under the covers and went to bed. I swear that was my mom visiting me, coming by to say, bye. Because literally my
Mm-hmm.
mom passed the next day. But I really do believe that was her visiting, and the dog picked it up. I think she called the dog by name, and she jumped out of the covers, like, who's here? So it was
It's
pretty
almost a
trippy. So
comforting thought.
it is.
Yeah,
It
like
really is.
maybe she was trying to say your name and you couldn't hear her, so then she called out to your dog, and your dog was like,
Very
that's
possible. Yeah.
I think stuff like that is so cool, because like, and I don't mean for this to sound morbid, but I
Right.
have, I sometimes, if I worry about like me passing away myself, I worry about my dog being sad, but then
Right.
I'm like, you know what? I could probably still hang out and play with her
Yeah.
because there's a possibility she'd still be able to like see me and everything. So that brings me a little bit of comfort.
Mhm. For sure.
Yeah, my dog, she gets really upset when she can hear things that she can't see. And so a lot of times she'll come running out into my living room barking, thinking that she's heard somebody in the house when everybody's not in the living room.
Mhm.
And that freaks me out every time, because I legitimately don't know if she's heard somebody outside that I couldn't hear, or if
Right.
she's hearing somebody who's not there.
Yes. I've dealt with that too. That's kind of scary because, yeah, the living is probably we need to be more afraid of, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that, that just makes me think of that time that I did work for that older lady because, like I said, I didn't have any feelings of I was, in trouble or anything like that. But just not knowing what it was or just knowing that something could be there that I couldn't see myself really freaked me out. So when she would call me in there saying that somebody all dressed in white came in and was like hovering over her, that really scared me. But it just sounded like they were there to look over her and try to bring her some peace and comfort. But me not being able to see it scared me.
Right. I know.
That's so funny. It's so weird when you really start thinking about some of these things, like how much of these things are actual experiences that we've had throughout our lives and all that kind of stuff. It's just so strange to think about, but it's also really fascinating to me.
So fascinating.
And I definitely want to check out some of your tours. I know that I had looked online and saw that you're doing the Broken Arrow tour.
Yeah, and in that one, I take you down to the Broken Arrow Hospital, and we go inside the old hospital. It's now the military museum, but as you know, hospitals are very notoriously haunted. Now, I've only been doing that tour for 1 year, and I mean, last year we had so many experiences: people being touched, people hearing things. We've got pictures, and literally that never happens. I have to usually go into a place a dozen times. Like the place I hold my ghost hunting 101, I've been in there more times than this. And it's taken me years and years and years to get that face on the table. That's all I have from there. That's it. And this place, it's like, oh my gosh, like the 5th tour in, we got pictures of some anomalous, weird things. So it's really cool. It's really,
That sounds
can't
so cool.
explain it.
I was so excited to see that it's going to be going through like the spring and summer as well, because a lot of times I've noticed, we lived in Georgia previously to here, and their historical society does a ghost walk around the downtown of where we lived, and they only do it during like the Halloween season during the month of October. So it excites me when there's spooky things to do throughout the year.
Well, and I started a new company last year, at the end of last year, called Edge of Midnight Event Company. And I do intend to do lots more spooky stuff. It's a lot of fun right now. Girls like to get together and get the paintings and paint the ghosts on them. Have you seen that trend?
Yes.
So we're gonna host those paint and sips like that.
I've been wanting to do that.
We need to go to that too. We're gonna come to all your events.
Yeah, at Edge of Midnight, we're gonna be doing a lot of really cool stuff. We're gonna be kind of focusing on dark events like dark weddings, dark photography, dark boudoir, dark couples photos. You kind of dress up like sugar skulls and have photos taken and things. So we got burn the dress divorce parties we're gonna have, and so it's gonna be really fun. We're just gonna be doing all kinds of really crazy weird things.
That sounds so cool. Like we most definitely need to be trying to do as much as that as possible with you, because that sounds so cool. I did want to mention the thing with the hospital. In the small town that I grew up in, we had I don't know if it's still there or not. I haven't looked into it, but there was this like small abandoned hospital, and it was like the psych ward part of the hospital. It was separate from the other part. And it was, people could get in there. So a group of us on Halloween, when we were like, how old were we? 14, 15 years old, decided to go. And Halloween is probably one of the not best times to go, because it's like pretty notorious that that's when like, spirits and stuff like that are able to, I mean, that's what the story is anyways, are able to walk about is on Halloween. Right. So there was so many like spooky, scary things that happened. I remember one of my girlfriends peed themselves, and we ended up running back to, it was my friend's dad who took us to, like a group of us, and we all ended up running back to his truck and everything. So yeah, that was, a fun little scary memory.
So funny.
Our
Yeah.
first VA tour is a 16-year-old girl's birthday party. Is the majority of the people going on that first one. So,
Oh,
you know,
wow.
if something happens, it'll be genuine, and I plan to, you know, prepare them for that because you just never know. You just never know. But
Yeah.
that's the thing. My tours, there's no jump out at you. There's no. It's not like the haunted attractions. It's genuinely,
Mhm.
you know, paranormal. So something happens, it's genuine.
I
That's
love that.
it's set 3 big burly men running for the door before. So, I mean, there's been times where we've had experiences that really, really frighten people. So I try to warn
Wow.
them that, you know, I can't promise you it'll happen, but if it does, it does. It can really startle you. So,
Yeah. It's so funny that you said that because I'm all in on doing paranormal attractions, but the like haunted houses with scare actors and stuff, I can't do it. It gives me so much anxiety. But I'm
yes,
like, give me real ghosts. I'm fine.
Yeah.
right, for sure.
But we definitely don't want to take up too much of your time, and we appreciate you spending your Sunday with us.
Oh, well, thank you.
Is there anything that you think that's really important that our listeners know about you or Tulsa Spirit Tours before we go?
No, but you're asking about one of the 100 things to do, and that would definitely be take my tours. I don't mean to sound so, you know, to my own horn here, but it is one of the more unique things to do in the books. I've got it in both of them, and it's all the haunted tours that are around. Sorry, my dogs are going crazy. It's not just here in Tulsa, but there's some in Oklahoma City and in Enid. I've got those in there as well. So yeah, there's all kinds of fun stuff to do there. And I'm actually getting ready to do a book tour with, I think, 4 other local authors this summer.
Cool.
And we're going to be, and they write haunted stuff as well. So we're going to be visiting like Enid, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and I'm not sure on the other city, but there's going to be 4 or 5 of us are going to do a book tour this summer. So we hope to see you guys come out and hang out with us for a little bit and check out our books.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. And I think our listeners all know where they can find us hanging out at your tours.
Yes.
Awesome.
And we'll be sure to put all of the your information for people to reach you. But did you want to mention where people can find you and your like socials or website or anything?
Yeah, just Tulsa Spirit Tours. You know, you Google Ghost Tours in Tulsa, you find me. I'm the one that's been around the longest. It's been 20 years as of last year.
That is really cool.
Yeah. It's so this year's 21. So I guess we gotta get a drinking tour going, huh?
Yeah.
For my 21st birthday. And then yeah, so I would love to see you guys. It's a lot of fun. And I plan to bring more events. I'm working on them.
That sounds awesome.
Very exciting.
And also, where can people buy your books?
Ida Red's is an awesome place to find my books.
Oh, we love Ida Red.
Decapolis is another. Magic City Books is a great place as well. I love to shop local first.
Yes.
You know, Walgreens, I love it because they put my Tulsa's Haunted Memories right next to the wine. It's like they know me there. So I tell people, look for the wine and look for the stack of books at the end, and you'll find me there. So yeah, they can find that there. And Facebook is another. You're asking where to find me. I didn't mention Facebook is usually where I get a lot of people that kind of reach out. Tulsa Spirit Tours on Facebook there.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so
I appreciate
much.
you ladies. Thank you.
We had so much fun.
And we
Me
appreciate
too.
you. Yeah, it was great meeting you. You're awesome. We can't wait to hang out with you more in the future.
Awesome. Yeah, especially if you're in Tulsa, holler. We'll get something together soon.
Yeah.
So that was Teri with Tulsa Spirit Tours. If you want to check her out, if you are local like us and you are really wanting to go and do all the things, go to tulsaspirittours.com and you can see all of the schedules and the pricing and buy tickets and all the things. They also have a Facebook page. Go give them a follow. And also, you can buy Teri's books. She's got several of them. For those of you who are not local to Tulsa, Ida Red General Store is a really cool Tulsa local store that we love to support ourselves. We've shopped there several times. We always take out of town guests there because it's a really cool shop, but you can buy stuff online from them. So I'm pretty sure you could buy these books
online if you're not local from them, and it would help support our local community, which we would really appreciate.
Most definitely. And we'll also, add all of Tulsa Spirit Tours contact information, as well as we will share the places that she mentioned where you can buy her books from as well here in Tulsa.
Yes. And this episode has been sponsored by Fat Cow Cartoons. She does our artwork on our title stuff, and she does all of our logos and everything. She's awesome. She also creates a bunch of gifts, and you can pretty much, get anything customized by her.
Yes, she's amazing. We love Carly with Fat Cow Cartoons.
Yes, go check her out on Instagram, PHAT Cow Cartoons, and she will have more information about herself there.
And with that, we are out.
Stay spooky.
Spooky Besties out.